I have not played a single AAA game in 2025. 2025 was packed with incredible games. It was a good year for gaming overall. But which side of the coin had a better year? And I think indie games are finally winning, and it is threatening AAA industry. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Well, we have got two elephants in the room: Hollow Knight Silksong and Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Neither of these are AAA game, even if you argue Expedition 33 cannot be indie. The most anticipated game we got in 2025 was undoubtedly Hollow Knight Silksong. We waited 7 years for this game. Every single event show we watched that year before the release of Silksong, majority of the people only watched them to see more about Silksong. When it came out, it broke stores. I don't recall this happening for any other game this year.
Now let's look at the Game Awards. The whole award show was just a sweep by Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Say what you want about Expedition 33, maybe it's not an indie game, but it is not AAA either. Even if we ignored Expedition 33, I bet the show would have been swept by Hollow Knight Silksong and Hades 2. Okay, let's stop talking about the buzz. Let's talk about the numbers. To decide which AAA games we should pick for comparison, let's check Steam's Best of 2025 list. From Steam's Best of 2025 Platinum list, we can further pick Monster Hunter Wilds, Oblivion Remastered, wait, why are we counting remastered games? Borderlands 4, EAFC 26, Night Rain, Civilization 7, Battlefield 6, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Dune Awakening. These are picked from the list of most revenues, and most AAA titles are so much more expensive than indie or AA games. We see Hollow Knight Silksong, Schedule 1, Arc Raiders as the non-AAA games in the list. Let's talk about revenues and sales later. Most of these games are outright mid. We can already rule them out for their ratings. Monster Hunter Wilds, Borderlands 4, EAFC 26, Civilization 7, Battlefield 6 has extremely mixed reviews. Dune Awakening has partially mixed recent reviews and only 70% positive reviews overall. Night Rain was also very mixed in reviews at launch. The other AAA games in the list has maintained good rating. That is also the case for the non-AAA games in that list. They have also maintained good rating. Most of the AAA games in the list has mixed reviews in conclusion, but that is definitely not the case for indie or AA games. Now, let's talk about the revenues and how the hell did unstable rated games make it into the top 12 in Steam. Since most of these AAA games have very pricey tags and the AA or indie games have cheap price tag, it's obvious that the indie games sold more copies to be even in the same conversation. For example, if a $60 AAA game has sold 1 million copies, they would generate 60 million in revenue. But a $20 game needs to sell 3 times more copies to get to the same revenue. This proves the indie games in the list has outsold these AAA games. And $60 was just an example. Some of these AAA games are $70.
These AAA games in the list only made it in the list because of their marketing budget and already existing audience, because clearly with so much mixed reviews, an indie game wouldn't have been recognized to be the top 12 of Steam's Best of 2025. This proves that the indie games in the list have more quality and are objectively better than most of those AAA games. So let's talk about the budget now. These AAA games have insane amount of budget. Just to set an example, Battlefield 6 had 400 million of budget, and it's a $50 game. Hollow Knight Silksong is made by a team of 3, and the price of that game is just $20. It is fascinating that an indie game is outselling these corporations. And the best thing about this whole topic is Hollow Knight Silksong or any other indie game doesn't even need that much money. They didn't invest an insane amount of budget into the game, so to get a return so big, it is just generational wealth. but AAA games have to constantly squeeze money from the consumers to justify their spent budget. I don't think people care about large corporations anymore. These games misunderstand players. They have business models just to keep their pocket heavy, not to make the consumers happy. But an indie game has to stand out to become big. A AAA game doesn't have to stand out to be successful. Even a third-tier indie game is more fun than most of the AAA games released this year. If games don't make gamers in mind, then these games don't deserve the success, and it is already happening. Good indie games are proving they can outsell a bad game, which is more focused on marketing the game than to actually make a good game. AAA industry can shove a game on your face which is filled with microtransactions and bad optimization, but an indie game doesn't really have a choice to do that.
Who knows? Maybe GTA 6 will heal AAA industry again. But it's not even about healing. There has been a lot of good AAA games this year. Death Stranding 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Silent Hill F, Stellar Blade, Ghost of Yotei, and Donkey Kong Bonanza. Some of these games can be considered AA or borderline AAA, but the point is, there are good non-indie games. There still are, but there aren't enough. There are hundreds of indie games that are so much fun, and I would spend more playtime in those than the AAA games. If AAA industry doesn't hold its shit back together, then indie games will continue to win, and the only way AAA industry can do something about it is just to make good games. They don't have to be more like the indie games released in 2025, just be more like the good AAA games released in 2025. Everything in this video is human-made, from script writing to editing to rendering, but the voice you're hearing right now is generative AI. I feel guilty about it, but due to my financial situation, I am a bit forced to do so. I do not own a mic. I want to explore new ideas in the future, and I want to use my own voice to make those ideas come to life. So please, if you can, join my Patreon to fund this channel so I can afford the necessary gadgets such as a microphone. Patreon link will be down in the description. Joining my Patreon will also let you access my videos early, in addition to special content and sneak peeks. This is Andy. Have a good day.
You're going to do me a solid and skip that Silksong trailer so you can pimp my revolutionary VR gaming venture that will shock the industry probably. A wet one on the lips, comma, Wade. All right, let's take a look.